Nigeria's population as of today is estimated to be over 211 million based on the World Metal, of course, report from the United Nations. And this figure represents 2.64% of the world population. But why are census figures always controversial? Why does population always create problems in all countries of the world? This will center on our discussion today as we talk about population dynamics in conflict resolution, public relations approach to this. What should be the role of public relations in finding a lasting solution to population figures in Nigeria? What should be the dynamics? Where do we go from here? How do we use public relations as a tool to solve population figures in Nigeria? My guests are here with me. I have experts who will be taking cursory looks at our topic on your image today. Once again, you are welcome. I have in the studios former director of the National Population Commission, NPC, Mr. Lanre Anifowoshe. You're welcome to your image, sir.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And another regular face on this show is a practitioner of public relations, a veteran, of course, former General Manager Corporate Communications of NIPOST, Mr. Tai Olani. You are welcome to your image once again.
Thank you very much. My pleasant courtesies to viewers at home.
Thank you very much. To start with, let me start from a population expert, census expert, and the man that has seen it all when it comes to population issue in Nigeria. Mr. Anifowoshe, let me start with, for the sake of our people who are watching us, who may want to learn one or two things from you. How do we define population?
Straightforward. Population is a distinct group of individuals, whether that group comprises of a nation or a group of people with a common characteristics. That is the simplest definition of population. So for Nigeria, when we talk about the population of the people, this is straight and considering the population, the people who are within the country called Nigeria. And that is why for census taking, which is basically for developmental planning, the issue is not about indigenes of Nigeria or nationals of Nigeria, but people who are resident in Nigeria during that census period.
Meaning that even non-Nigerians can be part of the exercise.
Oh, sure.
If they are here.
Yes,
during the
sure.
exercise.
You will see, like I mentioned earlier, I said census taking is for developmental planning, for government to be able to plan for the people who are living within the country called Nigeria. And that is why focus is not on only Nigerians, but everybody that reside within the country for that period of time.
All right, let me add one more question. Now, if you look at the history of census exercises in Nigeria over the years, it has always been very, very controversial. Why do we have controversial census exercise in Nigeria? Even the last one that we had in 2006.
Yes. Census taking in Nigeria has been controversial because we have politicized it.
Wow.
We have taken it beyond issue of developmental planning into politics. We play politics with it. We use it to share the national cake. We equally use it to share political seats. And that is why everybody wants to have an advantage. And because of that, that is why for every time we talk about census taken in Nigeria, it goes beyond what the technocrats do with what they come back from the field with. I mean, they go out to the field, they conduct the census exercise, they take their figures, but because we play politics with it, we turn things upside down. If we are not using this to share the national cake, if we are not using it to allocate political seats, maybe it would not have been the best way. Jocularly, I could have said, if they now say, well, your figure will determine the tax you pay, maybe it will be the other way around.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mr. Olani, you said politicization of census exercise in Nigeria. I think when he was defining it, talking about planning, proper planning for the country, it seems we have jettisoned this particular primary objective of census exercise and politics.
Thank you very much. It may have to be like that because when at times you are looking at what could be responsible for wanting to appropriate one thing or the other, the resources that obtain in a particular geographic space, the number of people that, maybe the number of people that are occupying that geographic space, you have to realize that there will always be demand because of the growth in population. And the growth in population in relation to geographic space, the natural resources in there, maybe occasionally the mortality that also goes in a particular environment, and the migration. For example, people from rural to urban, people from other places flowing into other places because of what they regard as the strive for economic development, economic buoyancy of both the individual and these various categories of people based on the demographic pattern. Is it that of gender? Is it that of age? Is it that of social status? Is it that of educational background? And so on and so forth. On the basis of this, there will always be room for strife for getting certain things for certain set of people. As we today have in Nigeria, you talk of the North and South. At times, you talk of the caliber of people that are doing certain things or the other, which may be not acceptable to the generality of the people. So geopolitics play a very great role in what can be regarded as dynamics in population. And you see that in the past, the socio-cultural environment wherein you find yourself, you find that during the time that people were agric-based, we normally want as many number of children as possible. But today, because of the realities of today, as Yoruba will say, Omabere, Oshibere. But you find that in various geographical environments, the consideration for what number of people should occupy certain positions and places will always bring about whatever you can regard as a conflict of interest, and this is where occasionally we have clashes and some of the problems and crises that we have.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Anufi, let me come back to you.
Yes.
You mentioned population dynamics. As somebody who has worked with National Population Commission before, and from your past experiences, what are those identifiable dynamics that we should look at in population?
Yes, thank you very much. When we talk of population dynamics, we talk basically of why population change in size and structure over time. Basically, when we look at the Nigerian situation, he has mentioned something about the North and the South. We look at the characteristics of the population of these two geopolitical zones. Now, what has always given rise to misconceptions, especially for us in the South, is that people think the North is vast in land space, and as such, there aren't people there. That people are, the Southerners look at population in terms of density. Let me break it down. If you, in this studio now, if we have like 100 people seated here, anybody that opens the door will say the place is jam-packed, that you can hardly find a place to put your leg in. Take the same number of people, put them in a stadium, and you say there is nobody there. Meanwhile, statistically, it is the same number of people. 100 here in the studio, where you have less space, and everywhere is tight, compared to when you take them and put them in the stadium.
A bigger place.
A bigger place. That is the way we view it. Also, when you look at the way people view culturally and religiously too, which also affects population up north compared to what we have down south. Education, Western education, equally has a role to play in this. Here in Abeokuta, if you see an illiterate trader or taxi driver or whatever, he will say he's suffering because he is not educated. And as such, he will not want to procreate beyond what he can maintain. I have just 3 kids, and I'm sure there are so many of us like that with just 3 kids, because you look at your economic resources and what you can, the kind of life you want to give your children. But that is not the way some of our compatriots up north view it. They see it as God's blessing, and that God will always take care of them when they come. That in itself is another factor that breeds more and more children for them. Now, when we look at all this, the other side is for the female population.
Okay.
I have seen a northern woman who at 45 was a grandmother.
Wow, at 45?
At 45. Educated northern woman at 45 was a grandmother. Down south here, you will see a lady of 25 going 30 who does not even have a regular boyfriend. Talk less of having a child. Talk less of having a child. Meanwhile, if you are 30 as a lady up north, chances are that you even find it difficult getting a man. That is one. 2, there are many men of our social standing. When I say our social standing, somebody like me, I have a wife and just 3 kids. Not many of my social status up north will have that limited number. It's not just about the religion, it has to do with the culture and the social status too. And when you look at this, you see that when you have 2, 3 wives, their women equally compete. If the first wife has 3 kids, by the time the second wife comes in, she wants to meet up with her mate that she met at home with 3 kids. One of the governors in the Northwest, when we had the last census, had 3 wives and 12 kids.
Wow.
That's an educated person.
And a governor for that matter?
He wasn't a governor then.
Okay, then, okay.
Just oppose that with an illiterate farmer or somebody who is not educated, who feels my religion allows me to breed as many as I can cater for. My culture equally allows it. So when we talk of these characteristics of the population between the north and south, these are some of the variables that people don't think about. Even here in Ogun State, we talk about Lagos being highly populated. It is really. But we fail to realize that many of the people we see in Lagos reside in Ogun State. Ojodu Abiodun, the Long Bridge, Berger, these are all parts of Ogun State.
And from Abeokuta to Lagos?
Yes, my brother. Even somebody who leaves Abeokuta to go to Songo will say he's going to Lagos. And when you get to Songo or Ifo and you see yellow buses, you feel you are in Lagos. When you talk about Agbara, you think Agbara is in Lagos. Meanwhile, it is part of Ogun State. Also, the daytime population that you see in Lagos is not the same with the population you see at night. I have friends who work in Lagos but live in Abeokuta. And this is easy. I mean, this is a lot easier for them to do now, especially with the train services that is running now. And when you see them during the day on the island, everywhere is jam-packed. Do not forget that in Nigeria, when we have the census, when we have to take the census, movement is restricted. And when movement is restricted, these people are enumerated during the census where they live, where they reside. And most times they are out of these densely populated areas. You see them during the day. So these are some of the things that give rise to misconception about the population of a particular area as against what is the true reality of the figures of such areas when you're to take the census.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Nifoshi. Let me go back to Mr. Lally. Let's look at the population's role in conflict resolution when it comes to population issue.
Well, first and foremost, humans are noted for being both occupationally and geographically mobile, and especially when it has been established that certain individuals are citizens of a country. So there is always room for free flow of human beings to different places at one point in time or the other. And it is on the basis of that a number of people can feel free to inhabit a particular geographic space, while a number of people are regarded slowly as non-indigens of such places. And when such taxonomy comes as human phylums in certain degrees, the tendency is that there will be clashes. In Lagos, you talk of Omonile, and I think that goes for a number of places in Yoruba land, that these are Omonile. Now, you discover that because of the so-called government empowerment, especially as a result of the democratic process in Nigeria, whereby the lowly placed people, the so-called masses, are said to be empowered, but they are empowered in certain ways that at the end of the day may be slightly anti-developmental to human mind and mentality as well as human behavior. We can say that the politicians introduced this high use of machines and motorcycles and keke napep or keke marwa today, which as at that time was regarded as means of empowerment. But see the problems it has created for us in Nigeria today. Almost everywhere, the level of insecurity that is associated to various areas are born out of the misuse and misapplication of these so-called means of empowerment. And as a result of that, they are creating clashes in myriad of ways, which, if we are not very mindful of, may create skirmishes of war, and if not war. Because you will see, there was a time that in Lagos State in particular, some of these motorcyclists were being, the cycles were being impounded. And there was an impression from the other side of the divide that you are trying to deal with our people. You know what that means? And as a result of that, if care is not taken, then there will be difficulty. But from public relations perspective, in order to mitigate some of these crises, we have to, in planning, we plan for the people and with the people. And this is where, if truly we really want to retard this spurious and vicious and virulent nature of crises that are being created today, we have to know the people. What is the population? What categories of people are regarded the elderly ones? Which one are youths? Which one belong to the children age bracket? Why do we need this? For economic development. Planning in such a way that we will be planning the right thing for the right set of people, against thinking that, yes, let's have some elephant projects, which some people will regard as, oh, the state is growing, there are sophistications everywhere. But the real people that actually need certain categories of things are not the ones that are getting it. Look at the urban-rural configuration of our environment today. The rural areas where farming used to take place very, very much, you find because of the crisis today, especially now that others and farmers are in conflict, it becomes very difficult for us to be able to ensure that that anchor, that preference, that premium earlier placed on agricultural development is being disrupted one way or the other. So these are aspects that public relations will make us understand. We research into the population, we research into their geographic space, we research into their rate of growth, and we research into the way and manner they move in order that we can make best of that situation.
You're still watching your image from this station, and we're talking about population dynamics in conflict resolution, the role of public relations. Before we round off for today, let me quickly ask this question. You mentioned, I asked how census has been, very controversial over the time, and you talk about politics. Is it why that we have had a delay in having another census in Nigeria? Because the government was planning after 2006 population exercise. Government was also planning to have one in 2016 or 17, but nothing has been heard about that.
Yes, ideally we should have another census. We ought to have had another census by 2016, 10 years after. But we are behind time now, we are behind schedule. This is not the fault of National Population Commission.
Then whose fault?
It is government that will decide when. The role of the National Population Commission is to make preparation to say this is when we are going to have this next census. But it is the position of government to say we are going to have this census at this period of time. And it is the role of Mr. President to make a proclamation.
The Commander-in-Chief himself.
Yes, to make a proclamation that we will have a census this year or next year, as the case may be. The first thing we need to do in the National Population Commission in preparatory to a census taking is what we call the demarcation exercise, which is ongoing nationwide.
Now?
Yes.
Okay.
It is ongoing nationwide. Presently in Ogun State, they are working in Obafemi Owode local government and updating what they are done in Abeokuta South local government. This is ongoing across the federation. The demarcation exercise is when we subdivide a local government into sub-units of what we call enumeration areas, and these are the units of operation for census taking.
Before we round up finally for this week, Mr. Olali, your takeaway from this edition of the program?
Yes, we should also commitment to our national development. We should be patriotic. We should be educated, and when being educated, let us for the first time please anchor on integrity of those that are in there.
Patriotism is also very germane to national growth, and this can happen when we have a good population that is devoid of conflict and violence, so that we can have a stable country that we call our own Nigeria. This is how far we can go on this week's edition of Your Image. I'd like to thank the former Director, National Population Commission, Mr. Larry Anifoji. Thank you so much. We will continue next week. And do you promise to be here?
Well, I'll give them what
Thank you very much. All right, and I want to thank Mr. Tai Olani, former General Manager, Corporate Communication of NIPOS. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Hope to see you next week. God willing.
Definitely, by the grace of God.
All right, until we meet next week, God willing, I'll continue to say God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.